everyone, and welcome to another CSC podcast. I am your host, Francis Lalonde, also the general manager of the Chiefs de Laval. And this week, honestly, so far we had really great participant, but it's my privilege and my honor to present to you the 2021 champion of the CSC League. He's also my mentor. He's the reason that I'm pissing you off every week with my stupid comments on Discord. Ladies and gentlemen, John Di Betta. Thank you very much for being with us, John.
Wow, what an intro. Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
I did a little survey a few weeks ago. Would it surprise you if I said that you were voted the most fragile GM in the Conn Smythe Corner? And why do you think that is?
No, I'm not surprised. I think I can probably have a pretty good guess of which GMs might have answered that as well. I have quite a long history of injuries over the years that would leave me on the sidelines and unable to participate in I think we organized some back in the day, which we should reinstitute some. I know GM Marco Scanlon has pushed really hard for us to reinstitute our ball hockey and ice hockey CSC games that we used to get going. But yeah, so injuries kept me on the sidelines, I think, on a few occasions, and just had quite a long list of injuries. So I think that's where the name comes from. And it was also very apropos because in the Eagles' first few years in the league, our team suffered probably more injuries and bad luck than anybody else. And it was a well-known fact. Everyone agreed that the Eagles were the unluckiest franchise in the league by far. And it was only in 2017 that I made a decision to make some changes to our front and backroom staff, and we made a slew of hires, two of which being Dwayne The Rock Johnson and Arnold Schwarzenegger to come in as strength and conditioning coaches to come in and really fix our injury situation. And since then things have improved tremendously, and we went on to win a cup 3 or 4 years later. So that's been a major turning point in our franchise history.
Also, in my survey, I was asking which team was most likely to miss the playoff this year, and the Eagles were voted the second most likely team to finish last.
I'm not surprised by people's opinion coming out of the draft. It was a difficult draft for us for a few reasons. First of all, we were buyers last year going into the playoffs, so we traded away a few picks. We've been buyers for the past few years, actually. So as opposed to quite a few franchise in this league who kind of do ups and downs, and we'll tank one year and come back the next. We've actually made the playoffs I think every year since our championship with some podium finishes in there as well. I think we can credit our turnaround to a couple of things. Number one being our draft day announcement of Pion Shoravdas. And secondly, we think that we've just made a lot of very shrewd strategic waiver wire pickups and just good daily roster management.
Do you think that there are particular choices that you've made during the draft, or do you think there are particular moves that you've made during the waiver selection throughout the season that actually saved your team and that made you as strong as you are right now?
I think we made some calculated gambles in the draft. One pick was Braden Point, picked very early on, who even we were wondering at draft time, should we have gone with the maybe on paper safer pick of Alex Barkov, who was available just before. We knew Stamkos was leaving Tampa, and Point would have a bigger role and playing with Kucherov, and we just felt it was a step up season for him, and it has been. That's worked out quite nicely, especially considering Barkov missed a lot of time for injury. We might have lost quite a few matchups during that time. The Eagles believe in making smart calculated picks, but not taking undue risk. We feel a lot of franchises are careless in their draft approach, and sometimes
Would you care naming a few?
Well, I mean, I won't label them as careless, but I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. I mean, we have a totally polar opposite approach from I'll say like example like a Montreal Maroons drafted. We got Maddie basically reading the Sporting News Young Guns picks 5 minutes before every draft. We see him with the magazine, so we know where he's going with the draft every year. We feel that's a risky it's a risky strategy, and we like to rely more on proven performance veterans mixed in with a couple younger prospects who can maybe surprise and become keepers later on.
Let's talk about your strategy of using only one goalkeeper. I think it's been like that the entire season. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you selected Hellebuck. It was at the start of the fourth round, and he's the only goalkeeper you had all year in your team. Am I correct?
We briefly started the season with Varlamov before dropping him. Varlamov was actually an auto pick during the draft. Smart calculated picks, smart calculated picks, smart calculated picks. So we ended up with Varlamov in auto draft, and he lasted a week or two before getting dropped. We were really happy with the position at which we drafted Hellebuck. We thought we got really good value for him in that draft position. Best goalie in the league, and he was not the first to go in the draft. So we felt we got good value there, and we were hoping to have a good backup option, but we just felt that the other good goalies, which were being overvalued, were drafted too high, and then what was left just wasn't worth a roster spot. So we kind of just held firm with Helly, and we have our eyes and ears open to add to that, and possibly create a strong duo if ever the opportunity arises. So that's a little note to any selling GMs this year who maybe have something interesting. But we're not going to overpay for anything. We're comfortable how we are, and we're very comfortable going to the playoffs with just Helly if need be.
Let's talk about the trade deadline. You just mentioned it that you might be a buyer. You still haven't made any transactions. You still have all your draft picks. Will you go all in this year to try to win a second championship?
The Eagles are a franchise built on winning and providing results for the fans, so we're always all in to win a championship. That being said, we manage our team responsibly. Varlamov was actually an auto pick during the draft. And we think that, quite frankly, some of the trades that have been made this year are absolutely ridiculous. Just totally out of whack in terms of valuation. And we think the market's just not stable right now. If the right move comes along, we'll act accordingly. But we're not going to make any panic buys here. We're second in the league in points, and we're going to make sure that if we make a move, it's in the best interest of our franchise and of our fans, to get them the best result possible. But we're not going to go and mortgage the future for next year, just to say we made a move, like possibly some other franchises might have done this year.
You know the drill. I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions. You have a minute to answer them. Answer as fast as possible, and here we go. Best goalie of all time, Roy or Brodeur?
Well, I,
As
wa- I,
fast as
I, wa- I was thinking of going off the board with Dominic Hasek. That's why I'll go with Dominic Hasek if I can go off the board.
okay. Soccer or hockey?
Soccer.
Yay or nay for the Four Nations face-off?
Yeah.
Getting the blue balls for a week or missing the CSC playoffs for 2 years in a row?
I'm not missing the playoffs. Give me the blue balls as long as it takes.
Yes or no? The date of the trade deadline in the CSC should be known from the start of the season. Yes or no?
No, we need something to harass the commissioners about.
The prostitute said no to you because you were trying to pay with your credit card or because you were asking her to do some weird shit?
I asked to pay in waiver money.
People might not know this, but this segment, pardon my French, you're the one who found the name of that segment. So it's my pleasure to introduce that segment to you. It's now the time for you to send a message to the other GMs. Your next opponent, right now, you're facing the Atlanta Thrashers in week 16, and next week on week 17, you're facing the Falcons. So, any messages to either of those GMs?
Battle of the Birds. We think we're the best bird team in the CSC, and we're gonna see if the other team's bird brain moves will pay off. But no, aside from that, I just want to say too that I think the other GMs that have come on the podcast have I put in a weak performance on Pardon My French. I mean, come on, you gotta throw out some dirt a little bit. We used to have a CSC Leaks Snapchat group back in the day. I vote to bring that back. Actually, we faced all kinds of things back in our day. We had there was an anti-Eagles bias in the league, and we were actually the only team that would get their trades vetoed, and we actually paved the way for the sort of free trade that you have today in the league, where everybody gets to trade and never gets vetoed. So
you're kind of the Martin Luther King of the CFC league. That's what you're saying, basically.
Judge not by the color of a team's logo, but by the content of the picks and the players that were traded. So
that's cool so far. You were on the slippery slope, my friend, but hey. Well, John, good luck for this week's matchup, and good luck for the rest of the season.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me, and big shout out for this podcast you've been running. We think it's a fantastic initiative, and big shout out for an impressive rookie season in the CSC in a playoff spot right now. So congrats.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Thank you all of you who've been watching the CSC podcast, and see you all soon.